Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is November the 29th, 2022, and today the topic is buried treasure. Good morning, good morning, good morning, y'all. I hope that you all had a great day yesterday. Mine was just fine. I was kind of busy actually. I was just doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that all day. Ended up recording an episode of GSL as well. Um, but you know what? I felt a lot of confirmations yesterday. I had some individuals speaking to me in my life about, I guess the things that they see me doing and everything like that. Um, I got confirmations about GSL and the name and everything like that because I don't know, I've been back and forth mentally about that and everything. I think I shared it at the show yesterday that, you know, um, there's been like a little bit of doubt come in and be like, should I change the name? Should I do something different? All these different like thoughts and whatnot. But the Lord is confirming to me that nope, keep on doing what I done told you to do. Because it is making an impact. And all I can say is to God be the glory. At the end of the day, I'm just thankful to be in this position and to be um doing whatever it is that the Lord has me to do. I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand with the conversation today. Um, but I don't want to get too deep or whatever. But I'll just say that um, I am seeing what making a faith move has done and can do, and so again, I encourage everybody to do so. Um, not only to reap the benefits and everything like that, but to also, do the will of God and be there for other people. Because I believe that everything that we go through in life is because you're gonna probably meet somebody that's going through something similar um, as well, and you can pay it forward to that next person. And so, um, yeah, that's what I'm seeing happening, in a variety of ways in my life right now. And I'm just thankful. Um, I'm thankful, man. I'm thankful for the different choices that I made in life. Sorry. But yeah, I'm thankful for the different choices that I made in life and the crossroad moments that I came to that I've, lean and depend on the Lord. And I'm thankful for the grace and mercy for the times that I do, everything and everything like that. And the lessons that I learned along the way. And God is getting the glory out of all of this. And so I'm excited. I'm excited for what God is doing. And again, I'm thankful. And so, I mean, I guess that in some ways leads me to this conversation about buried treasure. Because, basically I woke up this morning at 2:10 and I don't think I would try to go back to sleep. I could just kind of stayed up and just kind of caught up on messages and whatnot that I had missed and whatnot. And I was responding to people and, doing this whole social media scroll thing. And then I found myself in a conversation. So I just kind of, chit chatted with this individual and everything like that. And, I was feeling pretty good about everything. There's some things in the works as always. And so I'm like, well, we're gonna see what the Lord do with it. I'm not gonna, stress too much about um this or that. I'm just going to, you know, I guess walk into purpose, right? So at the end of the day, whatever comes from it comes from it. Or if all that comes from it is, me sowing a seed, um, good seed into hopefully some good ground, that's fine too, right? And so that's the thing. I was in the midst of all of that this morning. And then, it was at the time my alarm went off and everything like that. And I was like, let me go ahead and get into the prayer meditation. Let me pause on this. Let me get into what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I did that. I listened to the prayer meditation this morning and that was good. But unfortunately, I don't remember it. So y'all can go listen to the Soul Space app if you need to. But lo and behold, I went back and looked at the Strong's Concordance for 2:10 because that's what time I woke up, right? And when I read what the words represented, I felt like a strong rebuke. And I'm like, is this for me, Lord? I was like, I was feeling pretty good. I was feeling pretty good about everything. Like, is this me? You know? But eventually, I mean, I stopped thinking about myself, right? I guess that's the thing. Like when you get information, you be like, is this for me? But I was starting to feel like it wasn't necessarily for me, but more so just in general, maybe to share and everything. And the more that got revealed to me, the more I understood and it started to make a little bit more sense. But at first, I'm like I said, I just felt a strong rebuke. And I was like, ooh, is that, wait a minute. My goodness. And so let me show you guys why. So the words that I came across, I did not write the Greek or whatever the words are. So y'all can look at the Strong's Concordance for yourself to see what those words are. And just look up 210 and I'm sure you'll come across what I did. But the meanings for the words that I came across this morning, one was unwilling, and then the other was pure gold. But then it also represented like a city or something like that. So I ended up kind of defining it into pure gold, basically, as I defined the word itself. But yeah, that's what those words represented this morning. And I'm like, okay, am I unwilling to share my gold? I thought I was sharing my gold. Like, I'm like, Lord, I mean, like, am I unwilling? And so I went and defined that word. I went and looked up the definition. It says, the definition of unwilling says not ready. Not ready, eager, or prepared to do something. So that's what unwilling means. Not ready, eager, or prepared to do something. And so I'm like, oh, like, my goodness, like I thought I was in a good space here, But again, I had to get off myself now. I had to get off myself and focus on what I was receiving. And so, yeah, basically looking up, different verses and, focusing on those words of unwilling and pure gold and everything like that. Ultimately, the Lord gave me buried treasure. And that led me to, of course, the parable of the talents. So here's the thing. I don't know if it's me, but I do believe that there's some of us out there. We have pure gold. We have this beautiful revelations from the Lord. The Lord has done beautiful things in our life. We have pure gold. We have things to give the world, yet we are burying it. That's what I'm receiving today. So I'm just gonna say we, even though I'm not taking it personally anymore. But I'm going to continue to say we as humanity. God has done something for all of us, and instead of us using those things to be a testimony for Him and using those things to reach the next person and the next person and the next person, we're burying it. That's what I'm receiving this morning. And so again, I felt a strong rebuke this morning regarding that. When I read those words, it was very like heavy, and like I was like, it took away from the joy that I was feeling. I was like, wait, I woke up with joy and everything, and I'm like, wait. And so yeah, I think that this is a very serious thing. So let's get into some Bible. Okay, so again, it led me to the parable of the talents, and that's in this verse in particular, Matthew 25:18. It says, but he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. So I showed, and I still have not finished that girl's book. It's sitting right there on the nightstand. But I talk about her all the time because I'm just really have been inspired by, what she shared on the show, during the first year of GSL. And that's like, we need to be working in our talents. our talents are our way that we can live. Like we can live off of our talents if we're working and doing the will of God. And so, and that was another thing that I got brought to this morning as well. I wasn't prepared to talk to y'all about that, but as I looked up to 210, and when I came across the word unwilling, when I looked up the verse that was with that word, it was talking, I think it was Paul talking about, should basically like should prophets not, you know, basically live off of their work, they're doing the will of God, they're doing the work of God, and so they should be able to live off of that. And so again, I wasn't prepared to tell y'all that right now, but there it is, again, it's this whole thing about being able to live off of the things that God has put in you, your talents, your gifts, your testimony, whatever it is. Like these are things that we can live off of. These are things that we can use, not just say to build wealth. Because I mean, I think when we say the word wealth, we always think about just buku of money. And it's not just wealth of that nature. I think wealth of people, right? Wealth of, enriching your family, enriching your community, things of that nature. And so, basically what I'm receiving here and what I feel like is that God wants to do and use us to do amazing, phenomenal, miraculous things, right? And but if you're taking those gifts, if you're taking the pure gold that he has given you and you're burying it, then let me share with you guys what the word has to say about that. So in the Go Deeper section, you're going to see Matthew 25:24 through 46. It tells you in the parable what the master said to the servant, but then it also talks about like life and what is going to happen to those that do the same thing, I guess spiritually and whatnot. And so I just kind of wrote some notes down of this. I'm not going to read that entire account. Y'all can read that on your own. I'm just going to read out, I'm just going to share with you guys some things that stood out to me as I was reading that section. And so the first thing I noticed is that the servant prejudged his master, his Lord. He prejudged him and was talking all about like, oh, you reap, that what you haven't sown. And, I know that you're a hard man and all these different things. So I think we do that to God a lot. Like, can we be honest about that? I think we do that to God a lot. We think that he's mad at us. We think that he hates us or that he's mad about the things that we do wrong, all of those different types of things. And I believe that what he showed us in his word and what he showed us through Christ and what he shows us every day is that he has grace and mercy for us, right? And so we shouldn't go into the relationship with God with this preconceived notion about who he is. I think it's better with any relationship really, but specifically talking about God, that it's better to focus on who God is versus who we think he is. So that's the first thing that stood out to me this morning about this account. The second thing that stood out to me is that the servant was afraid. So he hid the money because he was afraid of what this master would do. Because I guess because again he had prejudged and said he's a hard man and he's somebody that reaps what he doesn't sow and blah 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 blah. And so the interesting thing is you were afraid and so you hid my money. I'm speaking on behalf of the master right now, right? So if you're afraid and you hid my money, or let's talk about this spiritually. You're afraid and so you hide the gifts of God that's within you, right? Because you're afraid. Maybe you're afraid of God, or maybe you're afraid of the greatness that is in you, who knows? So you're hiding these things. But this is what the master had to say about that servant. He called that servant wicked, and he called that servant slothful. Now, I didn't define those words today, so if we got to go do that, you can go deeper and do that on your own and everything like that. But I don't perceive that either one of those are good words to be called, wicked and slothful. So that's one thing. Then also what also stood out to me about the section is that the individual, he made a suggestion of what what the servant should have done with the talent. The master said that the servant should have put the talent in a place of value and increase. So a place of value, so it could have increased basically. But instead of putting the talent in a place of value where it could increase, the servant buried it in the ground. So when I looked into that, that just kind of reminded me of just this whole thing about life and death. This whole thing about life and death. Now, seeds, if you bury a seed, they will grow. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm not taking away from that or whatever. That just crossed my mind. You can bury seeds, but, again, when we're talking about things being buried, it's usually, death of some sort. It's usually, yeah, again, this whole conversation about life and death kind of came into my mind at that time. And then, so yeah. He buried it in a place where it couldn't increase. And so that again, that's something to think about because again, we need to be using our gifts and talents, and so then therefore there can be fruit and not burying it in a place where there will be no fruit. What also stood out to me is that he took the talent from that individual and gave it to the one that did the most. And that actually reminded me of the sermon that I heard on Sunday. But we'll talk about that in a second. So what did he do to that servant? Basically, from there, after he took the talent from that servant and gave it to the one that did do good with their talent, then he cast that servant off and called it, and then I defined the word unprofitable. He said, cast the unprofitable servant out. And then unprofitable means not yielding profit or financial gain, not beneficial or useful. So yeah, so that's what happened with all of that. You guys can, let that marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. I hope that this encourages you to not bury your treasure and not go the route that this servant did. Do the opposite. I hope that's what it encouraged you to do. But hopefully, I'm going to give you guys some more to think about. So again, I thought about, as I was writing this down, about the fact that, the talent ended up being taken away from the servant and whatnot. I was reminded of Barak, however it's said, because the sermon on Sunday that the pastor was talking about mentioned about the Deborah and Barak or Barak, however you say it. And basically in that account, you guys can read it on your own. It's in Judges. But basically the Lord had already, from what I'm understanding, from when I read it, it seems as if the Lord had told Barak to do something, or Barak, however you say his name. He told him to do something. He had already told him that I'm going to, help you. You're going to win this battle. Go ahead and do it. He didn't do it. He went and go talk to Deborah. And she told him, like, didn't the Lord already tell you that you was going to win and X, Y, and Z and to go and do this? And even after he got the confirmation from Deborah, he still said, unless you go with me, I'm not going. And so then that's when she said this right here. Judges 4:9, it says, and she said, I will surely go with thee, notwithstanding the journey that thou takest. Notwithstanding the journey that thou takest shall not be for thine honor, for the Lord shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. So basically she let him know that because he was doing the thing, like basically because he said that he wouldn't go unless she went, and she said, I'll go, but instead of this being a victory for you, it's no longer going to be basically a victory for you. It's going to be a victory for a woman. And that's very interesting. I find that very interesting, being a woman. And then Deborah being one of the few judges and prophetess that are mentioned in the Bible and whatnot. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like I said, I've struggled with this idea of what I'm doing and whatnot. Again, I'm not no church. I'm not no pastor. I'm not trying to be in those positions. I do believe in what the Bible has to say about those positions. And I struggle with that because then it's like, well, am I touching on, because I'm doing this Bible study, because I'm sharing my Bible study, Am I, and from what I'm understanding, I think I might be talking to a lot of men right now. Like, thank y'all for listening. I appreciate you, um, well, but I mean, I don't know if this is a rebuke for y'all. You know what I'm saying? That at the end of the day, um, you know, a lot of people want to, don't, how could I say this? Okay. Um, I don't know, should I say this? Let me think about it. I'll just say that basically I've struggled with this whole thing because it's like I don't want to cross no lines. I don't want to, you know, do anything that's going against what the Lord wants and his order and everything like that. Regarding the ministry, right? Regarding the Bible and how it's given to the people and all that different type of stuff. And so, but again, if I just think about this buried treasure here, right? This topic for today and what the Lord is sharing with me this morning and everything like that. And I guess what ultimately I'm sharing with you all is that male or female, whoever you are, if you're burying your gift and talent, then God will take that gift and talent and give it to the next person. Give it to the person that is willing, and everything like that. And so that person may, if you're a man, that person might be a woman, as it was in this situation. Now, again, I don't know if that changes anything in regards to the way that the Bible says that things need to be ran in X, Y, and Z. But don't get mad that a woman, like for example, for me, right? Don't get mad that I have created, God, sex, and love by the grace of God. God gave me that vision. Because who knows? Maybe he gave somebody else, a man, this vision years ago or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there to people that struggle with like this hierarchy and whatnot. Like we shared the other day, that it does say that, God will use both men and women to have dreams, visions, prophesy, everything like that. So, you may be seeing people operating in their gifts and talents and whatnot. And you may be seeing an increase with those people and whatnot. I mean, all I can say is, hey, friend, don't bury your treasure. At the end of the day, here's something that hopefully will help you and inspire you, friend. Because Luke 10:2 says, and he said to them, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, pray earnestly to the God of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest. Friends, the harvest is plentiful. I seen fruit come from GSL, and I've only been doing it since 2020. Again, it had been on my heart and mind for years, but actually taking this step of faith, I've seen the fruit. I've seen the team that God has blessed me with. I've seen all the majority of people that I've talked to on the platform, the different things that have come from, like different conversations and things that have stemmed from this act of faith in my life. And this is just with GSL, not even talking about the cultivation period and everything else. So what I'm saying to y'all, friends, is God has given you treasures. He's given you pure gold, and he's giving you a testimony, and he's giving you, things to share with people. And it's important for us to do that because there are people that are waiting on you and your testimony. People need you and your testimony. And so, yeah, we need to take that seriously. I really take that quote seriously, and I see it operating in my life every day. And so, like I said, even without getting into details about like different conversations and different things that I'm in the midst of, I'm just saying I'm just thankful to be in this place. And I've seen fruit. I'm seeing fruit, and yes, it's in the form of people as well. And I'm thankful, man, and I'm thankful to be in this place and be of service. And so we need to be ready. And that's another thing too. I noticed that yesterday the topic was be ready, and then I noticed that a few days ago, I think, or stay ready, and then the topic a few days ago was stay ready. I didn't realize that I had stay ready back to back like that. But with that being twice, I feel like that's a word for us as well. We need to stay ready. Like if you're not doing this, like if you're not using the gifts and talents that God has given you, then friend, you really are missing out, and people are missing out on you. So that's the juice. That is the juice this morning. Y'all can go deeper, plenty of verses in the go deeper section to peruse and let marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. But the Bible verse of today is Matthew 6:3. It says, "But when thou dost alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. And there you go, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, anybody listening to the sound of my voice. I hope that you all are encouraged and inspired. I thank you so much for listening, watching, subscribing, sharing, any of those wonderful things. Shout out to the individuals that, spoke into my life yesterday, and, gave me the encouragement and the inspiration to keep going. Shout out to my guy over there in Australia, UN. I don't know, something going on with Australia. I just made another friend in Australia as well. So shout out to you as well, bro. I won't get too deep, you know what I'm saying? But I'll just say shout out to you as well if you watch this. But yeah, man, we're gonna see what the Lord do with all of this. I hope that you guys are encouraged and inspired. Yeah, we can't be buried, keeping our treasures buried out here. People are waiting on us, y'all. It's real, y'all. Like, I mean, and for me, it's nobody but the Lord. So I can't sit here and be like, oh, let me count all the individuals that you know what I mean? It's not even about that. At the end of the day, I'm just glad again to be in the place to assist in any aspect. And so, whether it's people getting daily inspiration, whether it's people receiving something from the talk show, whether it's being encouraged, inspired with their fitness by watching accountability, if it's me having one-on-one conversations with people, whatever it is, I'm just thankful. And I hope that you guys get in position and get in place as well. Because again, people are waiting on us. Like the harvest is really plenty. Like, and you'll be surprised how people, like, how you affect people. And so I'm gonna let that be that. Y'all have a wonderful day. And I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.